Welcome to the Daily Exchange. Guys, we're here with Robbie Ferguson from Immutable. We're talking about DeFi, potentially NFTs, and if they can potentially connect together, and everything to do with the future of blockchain gaming. We'll see you guys right after this. All right, guys, welcome back. We've got Robbie Ferguson with us, the man from Immutable. He's raised $25 million. He's got one of the top grossing blockchain games right now, Gods Unchained. He's a Peter Thiel fellow. This guy's a Forbes 30 under 30. It's where it's at. Welcome, Robbie, to the Daily Exchange.
Thanks, Fred. It's really good to be here.
So, Robbie, tell us, we want to hear the story. I love founding stories. Tell us about Immutable and, how you got to where it is today. Like Gods Unchained's ripping it in the, I think it's the highest grossing Ethereum game right now.
Yeah, that's right. We've made more than 8 figures Aussie. So that's been pretty awesome, and all in the name of changing the future of gaming to be, better for users at the end of the day. So that's been exciting. But yeah, I'm happy to share the background of how we got here today.
Tell us about So how did you? What's the origin story of Immutable?
Yeah, apart from a really hellish year of like 110-hour weeks, that was really a nightmare. The real origin story is my brother and I co-founded it, and we had been serial unsuccessful entrepreneurs for a long time. So we at one point had Australia's largest hoverboard company. We built a Shopify competitor. We built a League of Legends betting platform where you could bet on your own games. I mean, the important context here is we loved gaming. We were both software engineers, and we just wanted to build exciting stuff that we enjoyed, that consumers could really touch. And so it was late 2017, and we had been in the crypto space since kind of late 2014, especially Ethereum, which just completely blew my mind. The idea that you could, literally the first magic moment for me using Ethereum was I used a smart contract that was like a gambling contract. You could flip a coin and it would double your money if it was, a certain number, and otherwise it would take it. And I thought, I'm not a gambler at all, but that's magical. The fact that in 10 lines of code, you can make obsolete hundreds of billions of dollars of government regulation trying to ensure compliance. And I thought then and there, this is the future of how the world's finance and economies and even, generalized logic is going to run. So it was 2017. We saw this game called CryptoKitties come out. And it was just this cute little collectible game, kind of like breeding beanie babies in the blockchain, and these things were collectible, and it went nuts. People were buying them for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I remember saying to my brother, hey, we can build our own game where you can battle and win or lose stuff and make it epic with robots in a week. And we can, make something really exciting. Now, it took us 4 weeks, but we ended up shipping Etherbots, which made 1.5 million in its first week. This is the peak of the crypto bull run back in Jan 2018. We took that success to the States, raised some funds off Coinbase, and built Gods Unchained, which has been a tremendous success and is actually now led by the former game director of Magic the Gathering Arena, which is a 200 million recurring revenue competitor. And now we basically, a year and a half ago, we then raised 22 mil off Naspers, Europe's largest VC firm, and Galaxy Digital, as well as a few Aussie friendlies back here, and decided we have to scale this game because the blockchain is great, but it's not working in terms of scalability. And so that's what we've really been spending the last 15 months on, is the very abbreviated version of everything.
I'm sure there's lots of, that's a very smooth version. I know there's always trials and tribulations through all that. Yeah. I think what's I'm interested in, because, gaming is a very hit orientated area. Tell us about, how do you think about, creating games, and why did you go with a trading game in particular, for your main game?
To me, the answer was obvious, which was growing up, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, and these are physical games. You buy cards from your dealer, you have the excitement of unwrapping them and seeing, holy shit, I got a diamond. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. I got a diamond, dragon card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever it is. like that's an awesome and epic experience. And you have that fun of trading these cards with your friends. You even have people who are saying, well, I can make an amazing deck using low value cards that proves how good them are. I'm going to corner the market first and then make a profit later. So you have economies intersecting with game design. It's really, really cool. And by the way, the estimated secondary market capitalization of physical Magic the Gathering cards is something like $20 billion. So it's not small. But the crazy thing is that you can't do that in a digital context at all. You know, there's no such thing as real world trading. There's no such thing as economies because players don't have any rights over their assets. Even when people make a fake marketplace, like in Steam, they can just shut it down at a whim. And this has happened multiple times, time and time again. And so we said, well, why don't we take this magic of a physical trading card game, merge it with the convenience of a game like Blizzard's Hearthstone, which is a trading card game that's entirely digital, makes $500 million a year revenue, and create this brand new world's first trading card game where you can own and trade the goods you get for real. And there can be real scarcity put on top of it. So, you know, you have a 1 of 6 rare edition of a card. We knew that was just this most insanely cool application. And really the pragmatic thing as well is you can build a AAA card game, a really world competitive one, for $5-10 million. Any other AAA game genre you're trying to compete in, you're spending upwards of 50, 100. So we said, look, from a budget perspective, this is what's going to enable us to succeed.
And when you think about trading games in particular, you know, obviously you've got that real difference of Ethereum and it being, you know, provable that it's, you know, this is your card. And I think that's you know, we'll talk about that in a second in terms of NFTs, you know, in terms of non-fungible tokens, i.e. unique items in the world and in digital scarcity. But I'm interested in, you know, when you think about Gods Unchained and this company, this game, what do you think sort of protects it? What's sort of the barrier for someone sort of copying it? What do you think is, you know, what makes trading games or blockchain games investable?
Yeah, it's a great question. The short answer is, end of the day, anyone can copy and make whatever they want. Someone can try and make a competitor to Hearthstone. That's what we're trying to do, and they can be successful. Riot made a successful competitor last year, Legends of Runeterra. But at the end of the day, what blockchain does is unlock a brand new way to get people retained and aligned with the incentives of people, which is much like this idea of a cooperative, where it's not a bunch of shareholders and a board and then a company selling a product to consumers, but instead the people who use the product own a small piece of the equity of the product. The same kind of principles apply to this, which is if you own a card in our game, it's like, you know, owning a piece of this economy. You're probably not going to switch over because you're like, well, no, I'm almost a part owner of the assets that make up this game. So that's really powerful, and that's what we've seen really take off last year as well, with ideas like, well, you could build a new Facebook where every user owns the rights to their own financial assets. They can be part of the network's valuation, and that's the stuff that allows you to actually defeat the massive, insane network effects that are otherwise make it impossible to take these companies on.
Incredible. And you know, just to give everyone, what's sort of the scale of Gods Unchained? Maybe just for anyone who hasn't got all the exact details. Can you give us some stats, how many users and things like that?
Yeah, so we've had, you know, tens of thousands of users and purchases. It's Ethereum's highest grossing blockchain game, and really this year is about, the big thing is Ethereum can currently do 15 transactions per second. You have a thriving game, it's impossible to even put one game on that transaction per second. So really, we realized quite quickly we have to build a scalability solution that's going to hit our own needs, and that's ended up turning into, you know, something we're going to be serving the entire Ethereum ecosystem with. So the goal this year, release that and help scale Gods Unchained to be the biggest trading card game in the world.
Incredible. So you've got a new product coming out. It's called Immutable X. Tell us, what is Immutable X?
Yeah, so it's exactly how we scale it. So we take Ethereum's 15 transactions per second to more than 9,000 transactions per second. But importantly, we aren't just doing it by, you know, people talk about, and I'll get technical for a second, the scalability trilemma: security, decentralization, and scalability. most people, in order to achieve two of them, trade away the other one. So you can make a brand new blockchain and you can make it really fast, but the only way you're making it fast is by making it not decentralized. So you're kind of defeating the point. I can make a really fast database on my computer, which processes 10,000 transactions per second. You wouldn't want to put any money on it. So what is unique about this solution is we've hit those transactions per second while retaining Ethereum security, using some very advanced math stuff called zero knowledge rollups, which we've done in partnership with this amazing Israeli company Starkware, who's raised 30 mil from Sequoia. So we're pretty excited. I also love Ethereum personally. I think they have an amazing community of developers, and being able to support and help them scale is something I'm very excited about doing.
Awesome. And so this product, Immutable X, this is like the scaling solution that will enable other people to build more scalable, systems on Ethereum. What's sort of the angle? What's the sort of the niche that you're really focused on initially?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I might actually say, if I'm simplifying it, this is the practical change we make. Right now, if a game wants to give a user an asset, which is the amazing thing about Ethereum, when you give a player an item, it's tradable, it's worth real money. They're going to have to pay between $5 and $20 to create that item on the main chain. It's how much cost in just the pure transaction cost to create it. We make that cost zero. For us as Gods Unchained, we want to make millions of these cards a year. That means we go from burning 20 million bucks a year to spending nothing. Now, obviously, we had to shut that off. It's literally unaffordable. But that's at its fundamental nature, that's what we're doing. And in terms of the use cases, I mean, it's everything. NFTs sit atop gaming. They sit atop digital art. We had an artist called Beeple auction off $6 million US worth of digital art last month via NFTs. It sits across financial products. We have insurance contracts or options contracts being encapsulated in this token standard. The thing I always say is, if fungible cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ether, are the ability to truly own and have real hard money supply around fundamental sources of money or value, what NFTs are applying those same principles to all assets, to the physical objects of the world, to the unique contracts and options. It's basically this completely open infrastructure for building future economies.
So you're almost trying to build the platform that enables unique and scarce resources to be, I guess, scaled past just a digital asset. Could be almost anything. Where do you see
exactly?
Where do you sort of see, I guess, the initial areas, and where do you see the initial sort of focuses that you see this being applied to?
The initial areas will be digital native. So we're talking about video games. We're talking about digital art. We're talking about financial products that live on the blockchain. But eventually, quite frankly, I see this consuming everything. I see everything being tokenized. Imagine your Sotheby's art is turned into a token. It can be fractionalized and split into 1,000 pieces, and there can be a market trading on it. Wine is going to be traded via these token standards. You're going to have rare alternative investment classes. You're going to have financial products from the real world. And currently, the only way you can fit a bunch of these unique assets in is via the NFT standard. If I wrote an options contract in real life, that can't be done through a normal cryptocurrency. You have to have a unique token because it's details are completely unique. It's an individual contract written based on specific circumstances. So they said, a decade ago, software is eating the world. I think now we're seeing tokens eating the world.
Awesome. And is there sort of a plans for an exchange or some sort of, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I always call ourselves the exchange protocol because at the end of the day, when people want to trade, use a marketplace, we want to partner with everyone in the ecosystem. There's great marketplaces where people want to trade. Wherever users want to trade, we want to be the engine under the hood powering that trading.
Cool. So it's like a protocol for the other marketplaces and other developers to build upon to really take advantage of this
That's right.
And so do you see like people like OpenSea and Rarible, so that they're sort of potentially using this protocol and extending their marketplace?
That's exactly right. So these guys have amazing front ends. They've put tons of years of effort engineering, making it amazing experiences. So Rarible allows anyone to create essentially art or cool artifacts and sell them. And OpenSea is this eBay-like marketplace for NFTs. But right now they're both suffering from gas costs if they want to trade in Ethereum. And we want to be the scalability engine powering all of those trades.
Awesome, major problem. And how do you sort of see scaling looking forward? I guess layer 2. Do you see that's what do you sort of see the future of scaling? I'm interested in your sort of vision, Robbie.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So look, there are smarter people than me who opine on this, like Vitalik, who makes Ethereum. His quote is, Ethereum is likely to be all in on roll-up based L2 scaling for the medium future, which is what we are. So I think the space is certainly trending toward it. The other two paths people are going down are really inventing an entirely new blockchain, like a new layer 1, use that with Flow, Tron, EOS, or inventing a new sidechain. But at the end of the day, neither of those things are making fundamental improvements on scalability. They're just making a new blockchain, which is reducing decentralization in order to increase scalability. So what's exciting about a layer 2 is it's a fundamental improvement that can operate on anything. So in short, yes, layer 2, absolutely.
That's the future. I agree. Yeah. Totally understand. Not that I'm not like the wizard of where scaling will go, but I agree with your thesis. And in terms of I guess Immutable X and going forward, and then you've obviously Immutable with the Gods Unchained. What about yourself? Like where do you sort of see the growth of those two things right now going?
Yeah, so the exciting thing about Gods Unchained is the future of the market is massive. As I said, Hearthstone makes $500 million a year. I'm curious how much a digital trading card game can make if players can sell their cards rather than just having them locked up. And the experience that I always like to anecdotally reference is so many of our players, when they come over from Hearthstone to Gods Unchained, say, when I go back to Hearthstone, I literally feel sick at the idea of buying packs and not owning them. Like it sickens them. And so I guess that leads into my big goal for the company, which is I want to change the way that users perceive their asset rights. Right now, when you buy a digital asset, you have no expectation of ownership. You just, assume it's basically a scammy license agreement under the hood where you can never sell it. They can take it away from you with impunity. They can print however many they like from it. It's like a central bank giving you absolutely zero guarantees over the money supply, which they probably don't, right? But at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to change users can expect when they buy a digital good. Why should my rights be any different from buying a physical good? I can sell a car if I buy it. The government might try and put tariffs and imports and protect the secondary market. But at the end of the day, that's, those are rights that I know I have.
Makes sense. Now, in 2019, you had Naspers, the largest shareholder, and Tencent invest. Now, obviously, Tencent's quite a big gaming platform as well. Tell us about, how has that sort of impacted or affected the way you think, or how are they sort of thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, our board member from their B is just kind of phenomenal. It's always and Richard as well from Galaxy. So it's amazing to have a board that is pushing you, challenging you, and making you think about the space in good ways. So yeah, I have a lot of gratitude to them both. More broadly, I think it's just very useful to have one of the largest kind of content and gaming investors in the space aligned with us. So yeah, it's obviously very useful, especially for when we take, blockchain right now, it's in this big silo. People love it. Those people are rich. There's a lot of money going around, but we haven't cracked the mainstream. There's no mainstream application yet. Our goal with Gods Unchained is to be the Trojan horse of the blockchain, to take it to millions of people and have them not even know that they're using Ethereum under the hood. That's when it's truly valuable. When you don't need to be told, oh, it's blockchain this, blockchain that, you just experience the value. In the same way that when you go to a website and you see the, lock up the top left of the URL bar, that's telling you this website is secure to enter your password. You don't need to know how, end-to-end encryption or HTTPS works. You just understand the significance of that technology.
100%. What do you think in terms of, zooming out a second, right now DeFi is obviously a massive movement. What sort of applications can you see between sort of DeFi and maybe an NFT sort of coming together? Do you have some?
Yeah, of course. It's inherent, which is to say all of the financial services that exist in the world today don't just arbitrarily exist. They exist to serve people's needs, and people's needs are built around owning stuff. They own cars, houses, boats, options. They own financial assets. They own insurance. Financial services are things built on top to make those use cases better and to create efficient markets. In the same way, decentralized finance has been missing that critical piece, which is, well, what are the assets that these financial services are serving? Those are NFTs. So that's the way I think of it. It's pretty fundamental. So one of the things I think is really cool is I reckon in a decade, we're going to have Goldman Sachs trading desks trading digital assets in video games. They'll have a desk that's going long Fortnite skins and short Counter-Strike Go weapon skins. They'll say, well, we're going to go long this piece of digital art and short Renaissance art from the 70s. And the really cool thing is that as soon as these NFTs are created, you can instantly and permissionlessly plug them into any of these financial systems. You can make an index fund out of them. You can make an options contract. You can make a prediction. Like, that's the benefit of crypto, is it's all these Lego blocks building on top of each other that eventually will subsume the entire centralized financial system.
I love that vision. Robbie, incredible stuff. Thank you so much for coming on the Daily Exchange. We do ask normally one question at the end of all our videos. It's a prediction, and it's a thing we do in sum up at the end of the show. Is what do you think the price of Bitcoin might be on this? Could be anything. It's not financial advice. We don't do financial advice on this show. December 2021. 31st of December, which is a fascinating time, right? It's a very interesting period in time right now. And I'm not sure what the price is today. It could be about 31,000 or so, but I'm just interested we sum this together and we stack them all up as the end of the year and we just see what our predictions are like. What's sort of your forecast?
I'll go with the safer bet first, which is within a decade, my long-term price target for Bitcoin is $1 million. And that's not just a random number I picked. That's the number at which the market capitalization of Bitcoin is the same as gold, which I think is one of the less ambitious valuation propositions of Bitcoin. By the end of the year, who knows? I've been through 3 cycles now. I'm not in the habit of making year-long bets.
Awesome stuff. Robbie, thank you so much for coming to join us on the Daily Exchange, and we wish you absolutely all the best with your Immutable X and Gods Unchained.
Awesome. Thanks, Fred. It's been a pleasure.
All right, guys, that is the Daily Exchange. Do subscribe, do follow us, and check out more videos like this one right on this channel. See you guys next time. Yeah.